Day assessment. Yes, get excited. Why? Because God has allowed you another chance to make it across another week. Why? Because you have pressed in, you have found purpose. You said, I am not what I went through this week. I am greater. Why? Because the greater is what allowed you to make it across another week. It's allowed you to make it to this point in your life, to this point in 2024. Yes, all the King's men, let's get excited. Why? Because there is so much up ahead of you. Yes, all that happened behind you, but do you realize, even though all that happened behind you, do you know that greater is still ahead of you? Do you know that purpose? Do you know that destiny is still beckoning you? It's still calling you. It's still pulling you forward into the greater that's on the inside of you, all the King's men. So I am just excited for you. I'm excited for what's about to happen in your life. I'm excited for what you're about to press into. Because as you know, all the Kingmen, this is about the Friday assessment. This is the day that we assess what's been happening, what happened this week. We assess, the areas that we're having success in, areas that we're not having success in. And that is so important because there are many voices, and we have to know what voice is actually speaking, because there is a voice that speaks to the flesh, and then there's a voice that speaks to the spirit man. And when it speaks to the spirit man, it speaks to purpose. It speaks to greater, and it's not going to sound right to the natural. It's not going to sound right to everybody around you. So what do you have to do? You have to press in. You have to know the word of God. Why? Because God is not going to tell you anything contrary to his word. But what he will do, he will do something that's beyond. He will tell you to do something that's beyond your natural ability. So when he's telling you to do something beyond your natural ability, there are others. When you start to press into that area, there are others that are going to come and tell you. They're going to come and ask you. They're going to bombard you. Why are you doing that? That does not make sense. Everyone else has done that, but you got to go and do what God told you to. You got to go and do what was in your no. Why? Because you got to press the button override. You got to press the override button. Why? Because you know what's going on. There, I believe it's in manufacturing, you got this override button. And what the override button, the system is set up that it sees something happening, it is supposed to either stop or slow down till you fix it. But you're hitting the override button for it to continue to press through. Why? Because you got to go through those hard times. You got to go through those things. You got to go where no one else will go, because everything else is pointing to stop. Hit the stop. But you're keeping on going. And when you're keeping on going, it's because you see what's beyond. Oftentimes, areas that we're not experiencing success in is because we're operating off of somebody else's voice. And it's not the voice of God that's been speaking into our lives. And you have to continue to yield to that voice of God. How do you many are probably saying right now, okay, how do I yield to that voice of God? First of all, you got to give yourself to prayer. You got to give yourself to reading the word. And you got to give yourself to fasting, meaning that you got to get rid of some things. You got to get rid of some things for a certain time. You got to start to say, you know what, I usually do this today, but I'm not going to do this today. And you could fast for that time. Or you can fast for that time for certain days or certain whatever it may be. But you got to get to a point to where you got to get away. You got, like old folks say, you got to steal away and know that voice so you can press the override button so that you could start to experience success in those areas that you know that you're supposed to be experiencing success in. You know that you heard the voice of God for that area of your life. Because when you start to hear the voice of God so much clearly, He's going to give you the clarity, even on the situation, on the things that, look, you know how to say hindsight is 2020. Hindsight is 2020. So God gonna give you that clarity. You're gonna look back and you're like, whoa, so that's why that happened. That's why that didn't happen. And what you start to see is how all of those things that happened and didn't happen, how it shaped and molded you. You know how I say you're on the potter's wheel? That's how it is with God. He's shaping you and molding you. He got his hands around you all the time. I need you to stay on the potter's wheel. I need you to go in the override. No, the picture don't look good right now, but I need you to stay there. Because it's often when you stay there, when pressure is applied, that's how something keeps its shape. That's how it gets in the mold that it needs to be. All the King's men, stay in the press, stay in there and hit the override button. Continue to let the process run. It's going to run itself out because there are bad things. There are things that need to be purged. Don't stop. The filter is saying clogged, but if you continue to press, you continue to apply pressure, the thing that's clogging the line is gonna push through. So what I need you to know, that there is something greater on inside of you that's saying, hit the override, hit the override. Yeah, that voice has been on you. And that's where you got to go in 2024. You got to say, look, I'm pressing override because it's taking more. Look, these times that we're in, these challenging times, it's taking a lot of people out. They're calling it quits and they're falling in the lane with everybody else. Yes, there's a lot of exposure, but don't get afraid of the exposure if you're doing the right thing. If you're doing what's right, not right according to the majority, but right ethically, morally, according to the word. If you're doing what's right, press and go when nobody else would go. Because if there is a voice that have told you that I'm backing you, if God knows there is more with you than against you, that one voice, that two voices, that three voices, there's still more with you than that's telling you to stop. All the King's men, all I'm saying today, hit the override, keep going, put it in overdrive. There is another gear. There is what they call a second wind. Oh, there is a fresh wind that comes from heaven. You got the strength that you need to press into 2024, to press into this next season of your life, to press into this next quarter of your life, however long it happened. Press into the season and watch the blessings of God flow in your life. When I say the blessings, I'm not talking about only material. I'm talking about in every area of your life to experience the God type of success. So all the King's men, my prayer today is that something that was said have been a blessing to you, that have blessed your life, that your life is forever changed. All the King's men, drop a line, like, tag, share. Let me know what's going on in your life. So all the King's men, I pray that you have a blessed day, blessed weekend, and a blessed week to come. Until next time, be blessed.